attended the G20 summit in Brazil as one of his final appearances on the world stage before departing the White House in 2 months. But instead of commanding the spotlight as the leader of the mighty and powerful United States, Joe Biden was largely ignored by fellow world leaders and even mocked by the press. This was most clearly seen during the group photo where Joe Biden was MIA, but the leaders didn't bother waiting for him to show up, leading to a shocked press pack.
Your friend, where was he? They're telling Biden, they're telling him to wait for Biden, guys. Oh my God. Do you see him, Joe? Far left. Left to the left of the palm tree. Oh my God. But they took it. Yep. He's right there. Joe, he's behind the palm tree right now.
How do you become so inept? How do you become so crazy? How do you become so disillusioned to where you miss a photo op at the G20 with all of the world's leaders? India, China, France, Canada, Mexico. You even seen the new president of Mexico up there, Claudia Sheinbaum, was there. And China is standing there in the front exerting and showcasing a level of power and control. And Biden is over there confused and the palm trees trying to figure out where he is. He also later, and I was actually having this conversation on the Millionaire Morning Show, make sure y'all tap into that. He also later was in the Amazon confused as to where he was walking off to, and people are laughing at him. And so they, as the leaders, tried to, or the reporters and the photographers was trying to get all of the leaders to come back to take a second photo once they realized that Biden wasn't there. And where in the world would you ever, in any way, shape, or form, ever say, oh my God, you know what I'm saying, Trump? You wouldn't notice that Trump was missing. They noticed that Biden is missing. He over in the palm trees, wandering around in the forest in the Amazon. And this is the thing that Trump was saying during his campaign speech. He was saying that no world leaders actually respect Joe Biden. They look at him as a fool. They look at him as a lame duck president, and they look at him as an idiot. And this comes directly on the heels after he's authorized strikes from Ukraine deep into Russian territory, to where Putin then says, oh, well, you know, this is an escalation of war. Now we have to have all options on the table, including nuclear options. Idiot, crazy.
I don't see it.
The internet exploded with this commentator highlighting China's President Xi Jinping front and center of the photo. He said, pretty clear which superpower leader thinks he is bossing the G20 and no Biden in sight. And it wasn't only world leaders throwing shade at Biden, the world's media mocked him too. This commentator said, foreign media mocks Biden as they film him totally stranded and lost at G20. Everyone walked off on him. And the disrespect continued when photographers tried to get the leaders back to retake the photo to include Joe Biden. But no one listened and simply walked off. This commentator said the G20 took their photo without Joe Biden. When they finished and tried to get the leaders back in place and wait for Joe, they still all walked off the stage. The reporters were shocked. The Joe Biden and Kamala Harris administration never got any respect for 4 years.
And for some reason, y'all think that this administration was just really controlling what was going on in the world. Historically, people respected the United States of America as the greatest country on the face of this earth, not just as an opportunity to take advantage of. Historically, they've always looked at the leaders from the United States of America, and the fact that we even had an election to where we considered Kamala Harris to become president of the United States of America. And then previously, you had, what was her name? Oh, Hillary Clinton. You know, the one that they tried to give us as a makeup for Bill Clinton getting caught in the White House with one of his staffers. Yeah, that Hillary Clinton. That was even less qualified on paper, but at least she could have a coherent thought. Then they tried to give us Kamala Harris as a diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we got women and black women getting mad at us while leaders on the world stage have no respect for us whatsoever. And they don't even come back to take the photo, which he should have been there in the first place. They don't even come back to take the photo because they have no respect for him.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris administration never got any respect for 4 years. And after missing the photo, Joe Biden was still seen wandering around, seemingly very confused and eventually abandoned by Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. And to add insult to injury, earlier in the summit, Joe Biden had an awkward encounter with a native in the Amazon.
Thank you. Thank you.
You don't even know what's going on. You don't even know where he's at. You don't even know the customers.
You speak more language.
Who is his handlers? Somebody get this guy a blanket. And this is the guy that's sitting here talking about what we're supposed to be doing.
He then bizarrely disappeared into the jungle, refusing to answer questions from the press about his recent bombshell Ukraine announcement that has many people worried about an escalation in the war against Russia.
Last week, Donald Trump met Joe Biden in the White House, where they had quite an amicable meeting. In fact, Joe Biden looked quite happy to see Donald Trump, and Biden promised Trump that there would be a smooth transition of power. Well, now I'm not so sure, because this week Joe Biden has authorized Ukraine to use American missiles to strike targets deep inside.
And we know that this is not a smooth transition of power. And they actually talked about it on the Russian side, and they said, listen, not only are they not responding to us because they don't even want to deploy any kind of amicable conversation or diplomacy. And this is coming directly off of the heels of Vladimir Putin prior to the election saying he can't wait for Trump to get in office so that they can figure out how they can end this war. Now, interestingly enough, they then say, we know that Americans are behind this because it takes Americans and American technology, as well as their ability to be able to program these things, to launch them deep inside Russian territory. So that's why we're escalating it in a war against Russia from American. With your hands, you now have blood on your hands. Why are all these liberal media outlets not really holding us accountable and talking about this? How come all of these people not talking about it? The ones that wanted to get involved when it came to reproductive rights on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, they don't have nothing to say all of a sudden. He's out here looking like a fool at the G20 summit, and he's hitting the button, and they launched these missiles less than 10 hours after us and the media found out about it. They was launching these missiles deep inside of Russia. They launched six of them. 5 of them was intercepted.
Russia. 2 years this war has been going on, and Joe Biden waits until he's got just 2 months left in the White House.
Crazy.
To allow Ukraine to really take it up to the Russians. Trump had promised, of course, to end this war within a day if he was elected president. Donald Trump Jr. tweeted, "The military-industrial complex seems to want to make sure they get World War III going before my father has a chance to create peace and save lives. Got to lock in those trillions. Life be damned, imbeciles."
And I think that is absolutely correct. And Donald Trump Jr. is right. And so we don't want people to drain the swamp. We don't want to have an uncomfortable conversation. We don't want to break our cultural norms as far as how the United States of America has been operating. They've been locking in and making a whole lot of money. And so as a result, they got to make sure that they probably making up money to their donors after they lost the election by a landslide. And they lost every single branch of government, as well as different seats in different states across the United States. And they swept every battleground state. And so they got to make sure that they pay their donors back potentially. Who knows? I don't know. That's my opinion on it. I'd love to get your thoughts. Let me know what you think inside of the comments. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Teach Henley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. And then get your tickets to come and see me December 14th in Detroit. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you later. Peace.